Eat more fruit. No, wait, avoid fruit. Go low fat. No, avoid carbs. If you've ever felt completely lost trying to figure out what to eat to manage your blood sugar, you are definitely not alone. The advice out there can be so confusing, it's enough to make your head spin. So today, let's cut through all that noise and get some straight answers. I mean, this quote from Dr. Frieda just says it all, doesn't it? One minute, you're told that fruits are nature's candy. They're packed with vitamins, they're amazing for you. And the very next, you hear they can spike your blood sugar worse than a candy bar. It's so frustrating, it makes you just want to throw your hands up. So what is the real story here? Are you supposed to eat that banana, or should you avoid it like the plague? Well, in this explainer, we're going to give you the clear, simple principles you need to finally navigate your food choices with real confidence. Here's our game plan. First, we're going to start with the why behind all the confusion, what insulin resistance actually is. Then I'll give you 2 super simple rules to guide you. After that, we'll apply those rules to everyday foods, and finally, we'll show you exactly how to put it all together on your plate. Okay, let's dive right in. To make any sense of the advice out there, you first have to understand the one thing that's at the root of the problem, a condition that so many of us are dealing with, whether we realize it or not. So, what is it? Well, at its core, insulin resistance is basically a communication breakdown. Your cells need sugar, or glucose, for energy, but they start to kind of ignore the messages from the hormone insulin. Think of it like your cells have put insulin on mute. This analogy is a perfect way to picture what's happening. Think of insulin as the key, and your cell is a door with a lock. The key is supposed to unlock the door to let sugar in so the cell can get energy. But with insulin resistance, that lock gets, well, rusty. The key doesn't turn so easily anymore. So the sugar gets stuck outside, just floating around in your bloodstream. Your body, trying to solve the problem, tells your pancreas to send out an army of more keys, more and more insulin, to try and force that rusty lock open. And this is the so what. This is why it really matters. All that extra sugar in your blood and all that extra insulin leads to high blood sugar. It's why you might feel so tired all the time, and it can cause weight gain. Over the long haul, this is the direct on-ramp to prediabetes and eventually type 2 diabetes. So, how do we fix that rusty lock? The good news is we can, and it really all comes down to 2 simple but incredibly powerful principles to help you navigate your food choices. Okay, rule number 1 is all about speed. I want you to think of something called the glycemic index, or GI, as a speedometer for your food. All it does is measure how fast a food makes your blood sugar go up. And this chart breaks it down perfectly. On the low end, you've got foods like berries, leafy greens, and nuts. They give you a slow, steady rise in blood sugar. That's the zone we want to live in. Then, on the high end, you've got things like white bread and cornflakes. They're like flooring the gas pedal, causing a really rapid spike. Our goal is to spend as much time as possible in that slow and steady lane. And that brings us to rule number 2, which is your secret weapon. I'm telling you, it's fiber. If the glycemic index is the speedometer, I want you to think of fiber as your personal brake pedal. Its entire job is to slow everything down, especially how fast that sugar hits your system. And wow, this is the perfect example of fiber in action. A whole orange comes with its own braking system, the fiber. It slows everything down. But when you juice that orange, you're literally ripping out the brake pads and just chugging the high-octane fuel. Look at that jump in sugar. It's the same fruit, but your body experiences it in a completely different and much more intense way. Okay. So now we've got our 2 rules, right? We know to watch the speed using the glycemic index, and we know to use fiber as our brakes. Now with that toolkit, let's start looking at some real-world foods and see if we can figure out which are our friends and which are our foes. So let's start with the usual suspects. And now that you know the rules, these probably aren't going to surprise you. We're talking about foods that are all gas, no brakes. They're high on the glycemic index, and they've had most of their protective fiber stripped away. Think fruit juice, sugary cereals, pastries, and even a lot of those flavored yogurts. These are the things that send your blood sugar on a total roller coaster. But on the flip side, we have our all-stars. These are the heroes of our story. These foods are packed with their own built-in braking systems. Tons of fiber, healthy fats, and protein. We're talking leafy greens, salmon, avocados, nuts, seeds, berries, all this good stuff. These are your best friends for keeping things stable and smooth. But wait a minute. This brings us right back to our original question, doesn't it? We just saw berries on the all-star list.
But what about all the other fruits? Where do they fit into this whole puzzle?
Well, here's the truth. Not all fruits are created equal. You've got your lower sugar group like berries, apples, and cherries. These are fantastic choices for steady energy. Then you have the higher sugar fruits like mango, pineapple, and especially those super ripe bananas. Now, this does not make them bad foods, not at all. It just means we need to be a little more strategic when we eat them.
So this is it. This is the real secret to eating fruit without worrying. It's not about good versus bad, it's about strategy. And the strategy is so simple. Type, portion, and pairing. Choose the right type of fruit, be mindful of your portion size, and this is the absolute game changer. Always pair it with a healthy fat, a protein, or more fiber. So go ahead and have that apple, but have it with a handful of almonds. That pairing is like adding an extra set of brakes to slow that sugar absorption way, way down.
Okay, let's bring all of this home. We've got the why, we've got the rules. Now let's make it super practical. How do you actually build a plate that works for you instead of against you at every single meal? It's a simple 4-step formula. Step 1, fiber first. Fill half your plate with things like spinach, broccoli, or a big salad before you add anything else. Step 2, add your protein. Think fish, chicken, or beans. This is what will keep you feeling full. Step 3, don't forget your healthy fats, a little avocado, some olive oil. And then finally, step 4, if you're going to add carbs, make them those whole food, low GI choices, like quinoa. See, it's not a diet, it's a blueprint for building a better plate every time. And as you get started, please remember this. This is so important. It is not about being perfect. I absolutely love this quote. I believe in progress over perfection. It's what you do the majority of the time that really moves the needle. So if you have one meal that isn't ideal, who cares? It doesn't matter. Just focus on making the next choice a better one. Consistency is everything. So I want to leave you with one final thought. Just think about this. What is one small, tiny choice you can make at your very next meal? Could you add a handful of spinach to your eggs? Could you swap white rice for quinoa? Maybe eat an apple with almond butter instead of reaching for a cookie? That's where it all begins. The power to change everything is right there on your plate.